Good afternoon, Mustangs. Today is Thursday, September the 3rd, and if we were in the building, today would be an A day. Look with me on the right-hand side of the screen and let's talk about our daily goals for today. You're watching today's video, which will contain our mini lesson. You're going to, at the end of the lesson today, have a Google form where I will count attendance from. You're going to be using evidence that you see from the other day from the cave paintings, and you're going to be writing a claim today. And I'm going to teach you today how to do that. And I'm going to teach you how to go back and look at your evidence and your observations and your inferences to write a good claim for 6th grade. Our lesson target for today is our supporting question. How do we know that history happened? So Monday, we talked about things like, how do you know that history happened when there's nothing that says what happened? How do you look at some artifacts? How do you look at a painting? How do you look at carvings? And how do you know what that represents? And that's what we tackled on Monday. You guys did that. You looked at some evidence, you made some observations, you made some really good inferences. So as we start this part of social studies, we are actually talking about a time period called prehistory. Prehistory is history before the invention of writing. It's very difficult to look at a painting and know exactly what the purpose is because there's not an artist statement that says what the purpose is. We can look at pottery, we can look at shards of pottery, we can look at ancient tools, and we can look at different architecture and buildings that are left behind. And all we know is what we see, right? What our observations are. And then our inferences from what we know about other civilizations. And we take those inferences and we take those observations and we try to make sense of them by producing a claim. And then we try to find evidence to then support the claim. When I talked the other day about ancient history being constantly something that's constantly changing and updating, that seems like a very odd statement, but it's exactly true. The more we learn about historical context and civilizations, the more we can take that knowledge and attribute it to things that happened in prehistory. So history, even though it happened a long time ago, is something that's constantly changing and the perspectives are changing. So let's get started for today. Lascaux, France, those cave paintings and the artifacts that were found in those cave paintings. Right? Discovered by accident, they became a massive tour attraction, and they were actually becoming destroyed because of the carbon dioxide that people were breathing out. And so there is an exact replica of the cave drawings and the paintings and the artifacts that you can now tour, but the originals have been closed down. So again, our learning target for today and our supporting question is, how do we know that history happened? Again, we're going to study the evidence. We're going to take our eyes and we're going to look at what we see and we're going to try to make sense of it. And we're going to make some observations. So as we're looking at the evidence, we're going to record what we see. And then we're going to try to guess, because that's what an inference is. We're going to make an informed guess or an educated guess about what those observations mean. You may be 100% correct. You may be 100% wrong. But that's what makes prehistory difficult, right? You're really just looking for patterns and trends. And then we're going to form a conclusion. That's going to be our claim, and that claim is going to be based on what you see. Here's our evidence. This painting from Lascaux. So again, just to bring it back around, so I'll keep saying it so everyone understands. Observations, that's when you examine the details that are present and only what you can see. When you make your observations, it's not a time for you to interject what you think you know or what you know from another culture or maybe from something else that is similar to the painting. You want to observe and write down specifically what you see based on the evidence that's in front of you. That's really important. Your inferences is where you make a prediction or a guess about the evidence. What do you think it means? When you look at those observations, what do you think it means? Why do you think it is the way it is? So we're going to practice. Right? Let's look back at this painting. When I look at this painting, I see a couple things. Right? And so I'm just going to point to my screen. Right? So I see these areas and these ridges. I don't know if they've been painted. I don't know if they're shadows. I don't know if it's the ripple in the wall and the natural effect. But to me, when I look at it, without being able to put my hands on it and feel it, when I look at it, it looks like hills and mountains, right? So this looks like geography to me. But then the next thing that I see are these little blobs up here. What in the world are those? Is that on purpose? Is that painted? Is that discoloration of the rock where the painting was put? I don't know. Now, what other people observed and the inferences they made were these were boulders, right? And so these were being dropped onto the animals. Maybe, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But I'm going to look at these animals, right? Because to me, that's what really takes up most of the pictures. And so down here at the bottom, I have what I will affectionately call some pretty chunky looking horses, right? But they're all running right to left and they're all facing that direction. And then over here, definitely, here's a horse. Here's a horse. Well, they're running the opposite direction. And you would think if this was the herd and this was a part of the herd, they would be all running together. And then you have two animals here that I'm not really sure what they are. They appear to kind of be shaped like the other animals, like these different horses, but they have stripes on them. But they're running the same way as the herd. And then you have the one in the middle. I'm going to say that's an ox. I don't know for sure, but my observation tells me it's got a tail. It's kind of would be like what a cow or an ox would look like when it would run. And then the head for sure looks like a cow or an ox. And then it looks like it has horns, which is why I thought maybe it was an ox. I have no idea what this is in the middle right here, right? But I see it, and so I'm going to observe that there's something that's kind of a rectangle shape in the middle that looks like it has sections in it, and I'm not really sure what it is or what its purpose is. Right? But those are my observations. Now here's my inferences. I'm going to infer a couple things. Right? So here are things that I know about horses. Usually when the herd gets spooked, they all run in the same direction. Right? But I look here and they're not. So that's kind of suspicious to me. And then the ox is running in a totally different direction. So my inference, based on what I see, is that this painting is some sort of chaotic scene. So something is happening. So if I want to kind of go along with that inference a little bit further, I may look at this and say, maybe those are boulders that are being dropped on these animals, right? Because that's the way nomadic hunters actually hunted and killed animals. They dropped large rocks on them from a cliff onto the animals below. Right? So those are inferences I could make based on what's there. But I don't know. I don't know for sure. I'm guessing, right? I'm looking, I'm making observations, and I'm guessing. Well, we're going to take that now and we're going to make a claim. Right? So we've observed the evidence. We've made inferences, and now we can write our claim, right? Because that's the third part in investigating ancient history. So in 6th grade, our claim needs to be 2 complete sentences. 1 sentence would be for the claim, and 1 sentence would be the evidence, right? And so when you make your claim, you want your evidence to support it, right? This is what I see. This is what I think it represents. This is how I know. So, in 6th grade, it's a little different when you write your claims. Right? So we try to give you sentence starters. So as you write your claim today, I would love if you started your sentence with one of these 2 starters. This cave painting shows, and then tell me what you think it shows. Or this cave painting represents, and then tell me. And then for your evidence, for that second sentence, as shown in the painting, and then tell me what's shown. or the evidence shows, and then tell me what that evidence shows. So if I was writing a claim, for example, my claim could possibly say, this picture shows animals being hunted. As shown in the picture, it appears that boulders are being dropped onto animals. You guys, that's 2 sentences that shows this and this, and I stated what I needed to state. Now, here's a couple picky things about writing a claim. In 5th grade, when you wrote informational pieces, when you wrote persuasive pieces, one of your starters would be to use your own personal opinion. Guys, in 6th grade, that's something that we try to get kids away from. So remember, your claim, you're making a historical claim that you want to say is fact, and you're going to prove it. And if you want to say something is fact, you don't want to use your opinion. Okay? So remember, your claim should not contain any personal opinion. So please don't start your sentences with, I think, or in my opinion, or I see, or when I look at the painting. Right? You want to take those I statements and those personal pronouns out. That's why we gave you the sentence starters. Okay? Now we're telling you today your claim should only be 2 sentences. And that's really unnatural. And as a language arts teacher, I will tell you as the year progresses, we develop bigger and better claims because we are on day 9 in 6th grade right now. And that would be awful if I asked you to write a 5-part claim today. But we're going to start that process. And part of that process is your 2-sentence claim statement that has your claim and your evidence and does not use I think or in my opinion. Okay? That's a big transition from 6th to 5th grade. And I'll be really honest with you. There will be people that use this, and it's going to be okay. Right? And it's going to be okay because it's day 9. And it's things that we can work with and build with. If you use one of these, that's okay, as long as you have these 2. Because as the year progresses, these will go away, and this will become easier to write. Okay? So, writing that claim, use the sentence starters to help you write. What I'm going to do is in today's presentation, in how I deliver the format, I'm going to have this video. I'm going to have this PowerPoint so you can review it, right? So you can either listen to me talk through it or you can go through it on your own. I'm going to have the Google form, and I'm going to link in to your work today the PowerPoint from the other days that has the Lascaux, France paintings and artifacts. When you write this claim, I want you to choose any one of the paintings. There's not a specific one that you have to choose. If you want to choose the first one, that's fantastic. If you want to choose the second one, you can do that as well. If you want to choose one of the artifacts that was in the items, you can certainly do that. Let's go here real quick. Right, so this is the work that you did on Monday. And this was the slideshow that you had. So if you want to choose artifact 1 for your claim, you can do that. If you're choosing artifact 2, oops, what's going on with that? Choosing artifact 2, that is perfectly fine. That's another painting. This one's kind of different. It's got all these different colors and symbols and hands and things. Artifact 3, so not a painting, but an artifact nonetheless. 4 is an artifact. This was found in the cave. And these were tools that were found in the cave. So you can write your claim based on any of these 5 artifacts that you feel like you can make the best observation and you've had the best inferences. And that's student choice, okay? And you don't have to tell me which one it is because through your claim and through your evidence, I should be able to tell which one of these 5 artifacts you chose. Okay? Guys, I chose to make this video today just based on the technology issues that we had the other day. My Google Chromebook, for whatever reason, I'm not sure if it's the Chromebook. I'm not sure if there's too many people on my internet at home, but I know lots of teachers at North, even at the high school, are having troubles right now with Google Meets. And so it's something that the district is looking at. So I know this probably isn't the ideal situation, and the Google Meets and the face-to-face are so much better. In person is so much better, because this is kind of what we have right now, right? And so we're all kind of making the best of this situation that we weren't anticipating. And so we'll get everything straightened out. It'll be good in the long run, and we'll look back at this one day and laugh. So until then, I'm going to try to make these videos and explain as much as I can through the videos, and we'll still continue with the Google Meets. But I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday. I hope you have a wonderful Oaks Day if you like Oaks on Friday. And I hope if you watch the Derby on Saturday, I hope your horse wins. My horse was Art Collector, right? Because my house is right across the street from Skylight Training Center. And we've seen Art Collector run several times on the track. So that was exciting to us. And now that he's hurt and he can't run, he's back out at Skylight. And so my big guy is already gone. So I guess I'll default to the gray horse. I always pick gray horses. So you guys have a great Thursday and a great Friday and a great weekend. It sounds like it's going to be absolutely gorgeous this weekend. If you have any questions, email me. I know several of you submitted things on Classroom the other day, and things started dropping at 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon that were posted at 10 o'clock, and I don't even know what's happening with that either. So you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Monday.